The English dub of Dragon Ball Super's first 131 episodes, the first run of the series, is over. It has completed with episode 131. I want to give my opinion on the English dub that aired last night on Toonami on Cartoon Network. Like I said in the last review I did, episode 130, the quality of these does not look that good on television, but the Blu-ray versions or the streaming versions, whether you go to Verve or Crunchyroll or whatever, those obviously have the better quality. Adult Swim does some weird, pixelated stuff. I've talked about it already before, so I'm not going to repeat myself. So, episode 131, when this episode first aired in Japan and I did my review on it, I remember getting a lot of crap for my review because I pretty much didn't love the episode. I thought it was very rushed. I thought they tried to cram too much into it. And back then, people were on the hype train. And you know how it is on the internet. You can't have an opinion sometimes without, having somebody disagree, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But then when I watched it again in Japanese about a couple days later, I actually agreed that the episode was awesome. Episode 131 was a lot of fun. But now, watching it again in English, because I have now watched this episode since I think June of last year. I watched it June of last year was the last time I actually sat down and saw it all the way through. And, now looking back on it, my opinion's actually both in that I still really love this episode. I love what they did with Goku and Frieza at the end, having to work together. I love the Easter eggs and tributes to the Frieza saga. The way Goku and Frieza looked aesthetically compared to how they did in the Namek arc, the same exact look. I love 18 being in there, and I like all that stuff. It was great. The animation cut was incredible for the final sequence. It's amazing, but I still feel like it was rushed. It really felt rushed, even dubbed in my own native language. Well, no, actually, I'm Hispanic. Spanish is my first language. English is my second, but still, it's a language I speak every day. I don't speak Japanese fluently at all. And it still felt very much rushed. Like they tried to cram too much into this episode. You know what I mean? I feel like it would have been better if they had done 2 episodes. You do the Jiren, Goku, and Frieza, big clash in one episode, then you have the conclusion with the universe is being brought back and everything in the next one. I think it could have been done better and been more emotional and let it kind of ride out, because it just felt very rushed. I mean, we also never even got to see anything more than one frame of Goten and Trunks on the island. So I'm just kind of giving y'all my thoughts here, looking back on this episode for the first time in over a year, what I think about it now. I still love it. It's just it could have been better, I think, if they had made it 2. But as far as the dub goes, I praised Patrick Seitz and Sean Schemmel in the last episode because of how good they did in episode 130. And I also felt like it was, a really good vocal work there. But at this point in 131, Ultra Instinct, we weren't going to see it again, really. It was just going to be Goku and Frieza. And Chris Ayres, I mean, dude, what can you say about this guy? I happen to know that Chris finished up his lines months and months ago, actually before anybody else did. Because of his illness, they had to bring him in and get everything wrapped up as fast as possible because he can't be in the studio for a very, very long time like he used to be before he got sick. He's still on oxygen. You know what I'm saying? He's still on that. But this dude, despite having very deteriorated lungs, is still one of the best talents in this business and possibly the best talent on this show. I mean, that says a lot, and I'm not trying to disrespect no other actors or no fans, but dude, the guy is just a machine. And the fact that he's doing it so, it being so sick is just mind-blowing to me. And he's always been great. I mean, Dragon Ball Super Broly, I thought he was the MVP of the movie, if you ask me. Vocally, I think he was. But I think everything was effective here. After watching the episode, there really wasn't anything that I found offensive or anything that I found unusual about the English dub. There was one part where it was the Goku Frieza double team on Jiren, which to me is the highlight of the episode. I mean, that really was, and really the moment that people had kind of been waiting for since Frieza had come back. I remember when they first announced him coming back, And it was official because there was a lot of fake stuff around back then. I remember just saying, man, this Goku Frieza friendship sure as hell would be fun to see if we even get it, if we even get to see it. And there you go. We got to see it in the last episode. And it was fun for the, albeit, couple of minutes that it was there. But, Goku says alley-oop. And I guess some people didn't like this. It really didn't bother me because, yes, the Japanese Goku did not say alley-oop, and you know how much I hate dub changes. But Goku saying alley-oop does not affect the story, does not affect, the narrative, and most importantly, is completely in character for Goku. Goku is a child at heart. We know this. So whether it be Sean Schemmel improvising that line or whether it be the script writers writing it in, I don't know. I have no idea what happened here. It's not a line that needs to be dissected so much like that because it's in character with Goku. That's who Goku is, and that's what Goku would do. You see what I'm saying? You gotta look at things like that. And I am not a fan of dub changes, yo. And y'all know this, okay? I sometimes get crap from sub fans for being too lenient on this, and then concordingly I get crap from dub fans telling me that I'm too into the Japanese version. But no, I am into the Japanese version. That's the original version. I've always been like that. But I also don't think that the dub is the worst thing ever, like some people try to paint this picture that it is. It's definitely not as good as Kai or the movies overall, like the overall Dragon Ball Super dub, like the entire dub start to finish, because that Super Saiyan please and those horrible lines from the early episodes, not a fan of them at all, dude. Or some of the Trunks lines I'm not a fan of either, yo. I've talked about this before. But overall, the Dragon Ball Super English dub, comparatively to other series, is way better than the original Z dub as far as script accuracy goes. And it's better than the GT dub for the same reason. Because the GT dub back in the day was filled with so many script changes. It's actually worse than Z, when it comes to script changes. It's got a lot. Obviously, Z has more episodes, but there's some things in GT they just totally changed for no reason. Let's not forget that in episode 1 of GT, Dende says something about needing a medic, right? Which was a dub-only line. Yet, Dende has healing powers. If I was in the studio that day, I would have grabbed somebody by the shirt, yo. If I worked at Funimation that day, I would have been like, dude, what the hell are you? He has healing powers. How could you not know this? That GT dub has a lot of problems. Anyways, back to this dub. I don't mean to digress here. Back to Chris Ayres. Dude, there's a line in this episode where he's like, I think you're terrified of being weak and helpless again. Bringing it back to the backstory of Jiren, how he was weak and helpless, and then Jiren steps on his tail and starts punching. Dude, God, Chris Ayres is so good, dude. God, he's so good. Oh my God. The delivery of that line and the way that it was kind of written is just so well done. And then Chuck Huber comes in with the spear, and he's like, this time you'll get more than just a scratch. I like that, because we're seeing, one thing I like about Chuck Huber 17 is that we're seeing him be a different 17 than the one in Dragon Ball Z. I haven't talked about this actually at all on videos, but the way Chuck Huber plays Dragon Ball Super 17, not Super 17, Dragon Ball Super Android set. You know what I'm saying. The 17 from Super versus the Z one. He's an older guy. He has a family now. He has children. So he comes off more human. You can tell, if you just, I haven't talked about this yet because I haven't really focused on this arc that much, not as much as I originally intended, but think about it, he acts way more human in Super than he did in Z, because he is a human, artificial human. He was originally a human being, now he has a family, and he's become more humanized in a way. He's not just, the deadpan, monotone robot like they were in Z, he's just, his delivery is better, I think. These actors, no matter how you feel about that Z dub, these actors have gotten better. Mainly because when they first did Z, a lot of them were just rookies to the game. This has been documented several times. These dudes are better overall actors now than they were 20 years ago. And that's an objective truth. Just listen to their other anime they do. You can tell, Also, I loved how Toppo in this version, it's the same thing as Japanese, really, gave him that speech, gave Jiren the speech, and it's okay, Jiren's condemning Goku for using his friends to give him motivation, and Toppo, I'm sorry, Jiren's condemning Goku for doing, yeah, and Toppo winds up doing that for Jiren, which was great. Like, that's great character development. And again, it still feels rushed. They could have done this a lot better if they had taken more time with it and really kind of developed this better, I think, if they had been given a little bit better writing and more time. But, you know, they had to cram it all into this episode. That's Japan's doing, not Funimation's. But still, like, I thought the execution of the speech was great in the dub as well, and it really was effective. So the final montage where they have or the final scene with Goku and Vegeta on the mountain, I thought was really well executed as well. I was worried they were going to actually make changes here based on the Broly movie because they dubbed that movie last year. So you would think that maybe they would incorporate some kind of tease for it in the dub. They didn't do it, thankfully. They stuck to the source material. And I'm just going to say this, man. Watching this episode again dubbed, it really hit me home again as to how many teases for future arcs and future storylines they have in this. There's like 4 or 5. And Dragon Ball Super Broly added even more because now we know Broly's out there on planet Vampa, still alive, with his girlfriend, and maybe he's experiencing some, well, you know. Anyways, he's out there, and there's a lot of characters that are still alive that are wanting to challenge Goku, like the Pride Troopers, and of course Frieza and Broly are still out there. So we'll see where it goes. But anyways, those are my thoughts on Dragon Ball Super episode 131. People have asked me to review the entire dub, but I have not seen every single episode of the dub, so I can't review it without seeing everything and also watching it over again. But I'm not going to do that for a while because, you know, I just got done watching this in Japanese. Now here we go again with it dubbed. It's like, I don't know if I can watch the same thing again. You know, that's a lot of episodes, man, right away. It's going to be a few months, all right? But overall, from what I have seen, like I said before, the dub was, I'd probably give the dub like a 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, I would probably say. I would probably say 8 out of 10. It's an 8 out of 10 dub. Kai, I think, was like a 9 out of 10. It wasn't a 10 out of 10 because they made some changes that I didn't like, but either way, that's a great dub, and Super, I think, is not as good as that. I think the best dubs they've put together are still the 3 movies, Battle of Gods, Resurrection F, and Broly, and Kai. To me, that was like the tippy top. But again, that's my opinion. I still think the dub is good, though, for Super. A couple of weird things in the, you know, in some of the episodes early on, and some of the Trunks arc episodes that I was not a fan of. A couple of weird things in this arc, too, but nothing that's going to have me angry about it, you know. So anyways, that's it. Thank you, and I'll talk to you next time.